A big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. This past year, as social distancing became the new normal, multiplex and single-screen theaters were the worst hit owing to the COVID-19 pandemic-induced lockdown that discouraged public gatherings. Today, as the COVID cases are on the decline and with most parts of the country easing restrictions, theaters have been given permission to start operations by following strict COVID protocols. Last week, the much-awaited state of Maharashtra announced the opening of cinema halls post-October 22nd, after, of course, compliance with health officials. Well, taking the conversation forward with me today on how the 19 months has been for this industry and how they're looking to hit the road of recovery, I'm joined by Kamal Jayachandani, President of the Multiplex Association of India and CEO PVR Pictures, Alok Tandon, CEO INOX Leisure, Devang Sampath, CEO at Cinépolis India, and last but not the least, Kunal Sani, Chief Operating Officer, Carnival Cinemas. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me right here on Brand Equity. I'm sure all of you all are sighing a breath of relief with the announcement and looking just at your surroundings and the way people are, gathering and meeting, be it at restaurants or at bars or, just be going out there. I think all of you must be quite encouraged with the fact that people are ready to move out. I can start with you, Kamal.
Sonali, thanks for having me on the show. And you're absolutely right. We are absolutely relieved that Maharashtra has finally given us the permission. We like to use this platform to thank the Honorable Chief Minister for being receptive and finally agreeing to reopen cinemas also in Maharashtra. Now with Maharashtra giving us the permission, also Kerala came out with their permission to reopen cinemas just a couple of days back. Pretty much the entire country would be open by the end of October. And a lot of states have already permitted us 100% capacity as well. So for all practical purposes, we are ready to go. And I think we will see, as an exhibition industry, we will see one of the busiest periods that we've seen in the last several years. And I'm not talking just 2019. I'm going all the way back to maybe 2008, 2009, those periods. We will see one of the busiest periods in terms of admissions. And looking at, the business that we've seen in the month of September and August, states where we have the permission and states where brand new films were coming out, like Punjab, Telugu, and even Hollywood films which released in states where we have permission, the business has been extremely encouraging.
Let me take it to you, Alok. Maharashtra is, of course, one of the largest markets with 40% of revenues for Bollywood films. Given that 22nd is the date where, the gates are open, what is the kind of conversation you're having with the state government in terms of COVID protocols? So, for instance, as a cinema goer, what is it that I should be looking out for?
We are happy that we'll be allowed to open our cinemas from 22nd of this month. We are speaking with various stakeholders in the government. We are in touch with the task force, the committee which has been formed to formulate the SOPs. And I think that the SOPs we get will be very easy for the cinema operators to follow. But at the same time, they will take care of any COVID concern which is there. And I have said earlier also that the cinema operators will follow all the SOPs that are given to us by the government. And also when we had this Unlock 1, there was not even a single SOP which the cinema halls in Maharashtra did not follow. So whether it was the SOP which came from the central team or from the state team, we followed all to the T. And that will continue now also. So eagerly waiting for the new set of SOPs to come out so that we all can just open our cinemas and open the doors to our guests and ensure that they have a great experience in our cinema halls.
Could you throw some light on the revenue share agreements with key producers? Is it any different from the pre-COVID days?
It is very difficult to give a right answer when we have 134 cinemas. All arrangement with all the developers is different. It's not that we have done the same arrangement with all the developers. But yes, we are very thankful to all our partners, ideally the developers who have been a great support during this 18 months, not only to a huge waiver, plus also a discount when we say for next 9 to 12 months, once the cinema is opening from October, where we have already opened. So we have got discounts, huge discounts on the lockdown, and way forward also there are different. Somewhere we have done revenue share, somewhere we have done a flat discount over the rentals. So we have got something, but for a flat percentage, we can't say that, okay, we have got all our cinemas flat revenue share or a flat discount. It differs from all cinemas to cinema owners, whatever we have.
Kamal, so given that in the theatrical business, only about 200 to 250 shows per screen every year makes or breaks the business, how do you see the next few months?
Well, I mean, from business perspective, like I mentioned, the next, I would say 4 to 5 months are the busiest period that we envisage we're going to have as compared to last many years. This is good and bad because a lot of films are also getting bunched up, which could end up some films cannibalizing business of other films. So that's a bit of a negative. But I would also, in the same breath, say that this is a good problem to have for an exhibitor, because you'd rather have more films, especially after the tough 19 months that we've seen in our business. So given that backdrop, what we are seeing over the next 4 to 5 months, even if films are getting bunched up, is a very, very happy and delightful situation for us as an exhibitor. And I think business, well, as somebody has said, even God cannot predict what the business would be in film business. So I would not try to make any claims there. But I think we are on a very, very strong wicket as we move forward.
Alok, the movie release slate till about mid-2022 looks great. And it looks like the audiences will be back with a bang, or at least that is the hope. Do you think that there is any leverage you enjoy for ticket prices?
Well, let me tell you, Sonali, that it depends on the cost structure of the property. It depends on the paying propensity of the people. And number three, it depends on how new a movie is. So that's another thing which we have to look at. Come Diwali, I think that everybody will be in a festive mood. And I can talk about our pricing strategy, which we had after the first unlock. So when the movie is good and people talk about it, we were back to pre-COVID ticket pricing. And this I'm talking about last year, November, December, January. Coming 5th of November, when we have those blockbusters coming in, I think that there are certain markets where we will be able to have the pre-COVID rates, but it all depends on where we are and how the movies open. But the pricing strategy for us is surely to find that, I would say, sweet spot between a ticket price and occupancy to maximize our gross box office. And number two, to ensure that we charge as per the paying propensity of the people. So that's how we look at it at INOX.
Right. Let me take the same question to Devang.
Like we have been doing historically, the movie pricing will purely be based on the category that we have defined cinema-wise. Each catchment, even for the same, city, the catchment. If I look at like giving you example of Mumbai, the pricing in Bhandup will differ way differently than what we have in say Viviana Mall in Thana. So we may from big picture view see that okay, the pricing in Mumbai city should be like an XYZ, but it will drastically vary even within a given kilometer, like 4 or 5 kilometer radius. So it depends a lot on a various factor. But we would see that how and we run Clip Cinépolis program, wherein we know the demand of the movie, how big that is going to be. We keep doing polling and survey from those moviegoers, and based on that the pricings are plotted.
Kunal, while you will see people coming back to the theater, this alternate seating, wearing masks inside the hall, these are all new adjustments cinema goers will have to make, and it might come as an impediment to the cinema viewing experience. So how are you, as people who are the flag bearers of the theater business, looking to do to incentivize people to come and watch movies at the theaters?
Now actually what has happened is people have used to they're used to wearing masks, sanitizers. They are aware of that. Probably a year back or 15 months back, if anybody would have told us that wear a mask or use sanitizer, we were not very pro with it. But now it is the new mandate and people are used to it. We have seen a huge jump in our online ticket booking also, where even in cities like tier 2 and tier 3, where we have a lot of presence, our online percentage has increased a lot. People booking food from online has increased a lot. So it is like just giving them the opportunity. They are educated now. We are ensuring with the staff, all our staffs has been trained how to ensure the COVID precautions, whatever the state and center has given, just following that in the right way and giving them the right procedure, like a show timing or probably the packed food, what we have started, the timings between the shows. These are some things which helping them not to gather more crowd and follow the restrictions properly.
Kamal, if I had to ask you about the overall scheme of things in terms of multiplexes and theater owners, for a lot of smaller chains and single screens, the last 18-19 months have been supremely harsh, and they might not actually get through COVID. Does that open up opportunities for each of you?
This is a fair question. And I think, firstly, I mean, if this unfortunate occurrence where some of the single screens or smaller multiplex operators are not in a position to reopen, it would not be a happy situation for us. We would not, feel any joy about the fact that this is creating more opportunities for us. But that said, this is the unfortunate reality of business, and players who have a weaker balance sheet or who don't have the financial wherewithal to deal with this unprecedented crisis may have to take these unfortunate decisions. And as a chain, I can speak for PVR that we are always well poised for these sort of opportunities. I mean, you don't start the year by saying, I'm going to acquire so many cinemas, or this is what my inorganic growth strategy would be this year, because it really depends on the potential seller to come to the market and offer his or her properties. Only then you can react to those opportunities. So we are always well poised for these sort of opportunities. I mean, we've been aggressive on growth, be it inorganic or organic.
Alok, would you like to add to that?
Oh, well, let me tell you that we've always had a very strong balance sheet, and we have never shied away from any mergers, not at all. We have acquired a couple of chains. So we will have to wait and watch. Whatever we look at has to be EBITDA accretive. That's very, very important. It has to gel well with our entire geographical layout. So that's another very important thing that we will look at. But I hope it never happens that cinemas shut down and chains go bankrupt, because that's the last thing we want in this industry to happen. But God forbid if it happens, then we have a very, very robust, strong balance sheet to acquire some other chain or acquire properties. But having said this, nothing is there as of now. We will look at every opportunity and every property as and when it comes.
Kunal, the last year we've seen a lot of celebrities and producers being forced to release their films digitally because of the lack of options. And of course, people got used to it, consumers took to it. Would you say that this great 18, 19 months of what our behavioral habits have been forced to change, has that changed entertainment consumption forever, or it has just modified it for a bit?
The number of movies which is releasing in India, which is, all language put together, is around 1800 movies a year. With the screens, which is still less in India, we all know they don't get screens. Ideally, what I think, and we have been studying, will happen here is there will be more of short films and low budget films which will be made. series or a smaller movies, which will have a direct release on the OTT. But simultaneously, all the big budgets movies will still continue to release on the cinema. They can be, as I said, series or a smaller movie, a smaller budget movies or regional movies, which will have a direct release on OTT. But simultaneously, this will also encourage us. This will complement. It is not that OTT will kill cinema business. It will complement us, where people can watch a movie in a month sitting home, or a series, which will urge him to come to cinema and watch another big movie.
Cinemas have a very critical role in the value chain. From customers' point of view, it's an immersive, compelling experience which you cannot replicate at home unless you're a extremely wealthy person who can have the best sound system, projection system, seating system, the entire paraphernalia at home. Unless you can replicate that infrastructure at home, you cannot replicate the experience that you get at cinema. So for regular customers, for regular people, regular guests, the amount that you pay, PVR's average ticket price about 200 rupees. And for that, the experience that you get is an extremely compelling proposition. From producer's point of view, it's a pay-per-view, way of monetizing content. Unlike SVOD, which is where a subscription fee is being charged from the customer, the content creator is not able to fully optimize. So if a film has a blockbuster potential, ability to reach out to a large number of people, and they have willingness to pay for that content, you're not able to exploit it if you release it directly on a streaming platform, because you get a fixed fee and that's the end of it. In cinema, it's pay-per-view. If the film is good, the amount of money that you end up making in cinema is just not, you cannot compare it to any other source of revenue. So as Kunal briefly touched upon in his point, this is not OTT or theater debate anymore. It's a OTT and theater and television stations and maybe many more multiple platforms kind of a situation which is emerging. And in a counterintuitive manner, it's actually good for the industry. And I have a slight disagreement with Kunal that big films will perform in theater going forward. Small, mid-sized films may not perform that well. That's not correct. I personally think, and time will tell us, but I personally think that all films have a place in theaters as exhibitors. We don't discriminate. I mean, yes, we give different number of shows. We charge different ticket price for films which have bigger stars. And we have a different pricing mechanism, different number of show mechanism for films which are branded as mid-size, which have a lower budget, don't have too many familiar faces. But who knows which film will become a blockbuster, right? I mean, that audience decides. Before release, the film is small, but if the film is good, people keep coming. And that film will be soon termed as a blockbuster.
Coming to your points on different sizes of movies and how they perform was my next question. That like now in the post-pandemic world, will there be a change in the kind of genres that we see on the big screen? For instance, more action, more superhero, something that is akin to the big screen than regular vanilla love stories.
Well, if I can answer that, let me tell you that today it's not genre dependent. People are very savvy. Today's audience has got a distinct taste. They want to see the best content. They want it to be shot beautifully. The storyline has to be good. So that's important today. Today, the true hero of a movie is the content and the way it's scripted, the way it's shot, the way it's the cinematography, the entire thing. We are very, I would say, savvy that how in our tastes, we know we have got a very evolved taste. We know that what we expect out of our 2.5 or 3 hour outing to a cinema hall. And that's today what the content creators are looking at. Whether it's a drama, whether it's an action sequence, whether it is a romance, whatever it is, it's a story today which is important, and nothing else for today's consumer. And that's how I look at it.
Devang, if I may ask you, how do you think, technology and the impact of automation and AI on the movie industry will really, help in improving the in-theater experience?
Technology and AI will definitely play a very important role. A lot of studios have now started working with us, analyzing data on, let's produce what a consumer wants, and not because I am thinking this. It's eventually storytelling. I mean, if you want to tell a story which consumer is really looking forward to, it really makes a huge difference. And upgrading technology. I mean, not talking about AI, but upgrading technologies like what we have done with IMAX, or we have formats of our own, which we build in Macro XE, which is again a big screen format. We do come up with an option of kids Audi, which is a junior Audi. So all those technology upgradation, we will continue to aim it. We will continue to do that. At the same time, I believe that AI will really play an important role on marketing the film.
Last question before I let you gentlemen go. As we head closer to the October 22nd date and your biggest market is raring to open up, what is it that is giving all of you sleepless nights?
Well, for me, nothing as of such. We have been a part of Unlock 1 earlier. We know what safety protocols we can offer. We know what safety protocols our guests are expecting out of us. So I think that we have done it earlier and we'll do it again.
The things that get you worried, are I think the biggest enemy continues to be COVID. We cannot take it easy. We are still looking at what's happening in US. They're hit by Delta wave, another wave of Delta cases. And while economy, business, and COVID are coexisting, everything is progressing. Because their vaccination rates are high, they've decided to keep everything open. So no more lockdown and shutdown and those sort of things. But high rate of infections is a cause of worry in all businesses, and more so in our business, which is typically the first one to receive the brunt of increase in cases. So that still concerns us, but fingers crossed. Our governments are doing a fantastic job of vaccinating people in real quick time. Tempo has picked up, and governments like Maharashtra, Delhi, and many other state governments, have got their act around this COVID management protocol and different processes that they deploy. So even if there is a third wave, which fingers crossed, hopefully will not be as severe as the second one, I personally feel very confident that the state governments will do a good job of managing COVID.
Sure. Devang?
What gives us sleepless night is people not taking vaccine, while the government is doing fabulous job, as Kamal mentioned, on getting people vaccinated. There are few people who are still reluctant and hesitant to go for their vaccine dose. Are the one which we want to convey a message that go for it. I think it's only going to make our life better.
Kunal?
With 50% of restrictions what government has, we are confident that now with MAI being more powerful and strong than before, we'll keep requesting the government to increase this occupancy percentage, because the cases are low. And by the time we reach Diwali or post that, we will have a higher percentage of seats to be sent to public.
Sure. I think the last 18, 19 months have been super harsh for all of you. So here's wishing you lots of luck, more power to your industry to get on its feet and start roaring as it did before COVID hit us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.